set and delivers. Call strike 3. Now 2 out, Tyler O'Neill. Granson set and delivers. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and that'll end the inning.
Here comes Albert Pujols. Who's riding this? Pujols into center field, little knuckleball out there. Back is Bader. He's got it. Played it well. That had a funky rotation to it. Alex Reyes on to pitch for St. Louis with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
And now here's Taylor with a chance to be a hero.
Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is way back. Walkoff, Chris Taylor.
The Dodgers are walking off to San Francisco.
Oh man, nothing like a walk-off home run, especially in the playoffs. The play-in game last night, your Los Angeles Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals, as we discussed, one of the hottest teams in baseball history throughout the last month or so. Valiant effort, walk-off in the bottom of the 9th right there by Chris Taylor. The Los Angeles Dodgers will go on to play the San Francisco Baseball Giants. Let's take a quick look at the MLB playoff schedule. I believe everything starts essentially today. Afternoon game-ish, 4:07 p.m. It's White Sox versus Astros, and then later tonight, the Boston Red Sox are heading to Tampa to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. So AL, NL, I believe, plus they're going to start mixing it up because it's baseball, so you can play every day. Why would baseball want to drag it out and like win ratings wars when they can just shove it down our throats? So Sox and Red Sox today. Tomorrow, we have all 4 series will be happening, beginning at 2:07 p.m. That's on Friday night. That's not a bad move. Friday Night Lights is what it is, but Friday nights in MLB baseball in October is definitely a memory that I have happening. So, I mean, I enjoy that. It's fun. It'll be fun for a couple of weeks. The first round of playoffs are always really exciting. Let's see. Do we care about any of these teams? I have the White Sox beating the Dodgers to win the World Series. The Astros are really good. The Rays and the Giants are the lazy takes because they're the most famous ones. The Dodgers also a little bit of a lazy take because they're the defending champ. We shall see. I just think my opinion is very simple. You need 1 or 2 guys that can hit home runs, and you need an ace that is just like unfreaking believable. And the White Sox have both of those things. Okay, let's move along. Baseball news yesterday. Managers fired. The New York Mets fired their manager, and Twitter signed me out. Twitter, you are better than this. Refresh. It's not better than this. Wow, that is incredibly annoying. Okay, managers fired yesterday. The Padres fired their manager. That's Jace Tingler and Luis Rojas, the manager of the New York Mets. Right now, those are the 2 managers that have been fired. Has Aaron Boone not been fired? I thought all of the Yankees fans were telling me that they had been fired. He's at peace with the future of the New York Yankees. Yeah, so he has not yet been fired, so that is effing hilarious to me. The Padres have been an utter disgrace, and so their manager getting fired makes a ton of sense. They were really rubbing it in our face as an organization on things like Twitter and Instagram about how good they were in April and May, and then they just didn't get better. They lost out on Max Scherzer at the trade deadline, which that happens. I mean, in baseball, as we discussed yesterday, there's no salary cap, so if the Dodgers just want to keep doing crazy crap like this, they're going to, and no one can stop them. But they still have a bunch of resources and a bunch of really good players. They should have been better than this. The NL West is famously incredibly difficult because the Giants and the Dodgers are out there. So with the Padres, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks, every year one of those teams is randomly really good or at least annoying. And as a result of that, it's tough to win. So the Padres have been an utter shit show. Pardon my language here. Oops, too late. But they have Fernando Tatis Jr. They're going to have him for a while. Got to get pitching figured out. The Mets are also a mess. I don't know. Their fans are mad, but they overachieved this year. They don't have any good players, man. They got to figure out. And then they traded for the Cub guy, Javier Baez, who's really, really good baseball player. But as an offensive player, he's one of the most hilarious guys. His strikeout / home run situation is crazy. He literally doesn't do anything else. So they traded for that guy, and they're surprised when it didn't work out. I mean, I don't know exactly what you want me to say. Like, guess you got to fire your manager. Let's take a look. Let's take a trip down memory lane. I saw this from our boy Funhouse on Twitter. If you don't know who Funhouse is, he was just a guy that got famous for making fun of how crazy the crap that Mike Francesa, famous talk radio show host in New York City, how just incredibly bad he was at talk radio toward the end there, and it was very fun. So Funhouse tweeted that on this date in 1880, the Cincinnati Reds were kicked out of the National League for selling beer during games, which is funny because as an Ole Miss fan, Ole Miss Twitter was really fussy on Saturday at Alabama when they realized that Alabama is one of the schools that doesn't sell beer in the stadium because Mississippi is. Yeah, that's funny. Jerry Seinfeld last night was at the game sitting in front of a dude who had some really creepy headgear on, and you could just tell Jerry knows he's about to be all over the internet, and he just hates it. He doesn't find it amusing, and I gotta say, for a guy so successful, he's a genius, bit of a curmudgeon, kind of mean. Just a little teensy, little bit mean. Do we have an update on the Urban Meyer situation? No. Did he ever consider resigning according to his really sad and weird press conference? No. He issued, according to multiple sources on Twitter, including Barstool Sports and The Athletic, his apology count is 5. Apparently, he did not address the team in bulk. This is from sources and Athletic beat writers that he was going from meeting to meeting addressing position groups individually, where he told the same thing where like a girl danced up on him and that he didn't know the girl, which we know is not true because he tagged pictures with her in the past. So he's going from position group to position group, and apparently the players were laughing at him after. So that's good. That's what you want, is you want your players to laugh at your head coach because his life is such a mess. And in doing some research yesterday, I read a story about him that is honestly incredibly sad. His daughter, when she was deciding where she was going to play college volleyball, dunked on him in a way that is frankly right out of an ABC Family show, where he was originally going to cancel going to the event where she was going to pick the hats. They were going to do the hat pick thing. And then his secretary was like, no, idiot, go to your daughter's thing. I don't care. So he goes to his daughter's thing, and she stands up. And this is from Wright Thompson, the best sports writer on planet Earth. He goes there, and she stands up. She picks the hats. She thanks her coach. She thanks her mom. She thanks her teammates, and she says, but you weren't there, Dad. She dunked on him. And then she hugged the coach and gave her dad, Urban Meyer, a high five. Yikes. So, and apparently his wife on Twitter was liking all the photos, and that's a good passive-aggressive way to tell everyone that you know what's going on. And there was a retweet in there somewhere. Apparently it's been deleted. All right, I no longer care about this story. But that's what's going on in Jacksonville. And I heard someone on a podcast, Lindsey Jones, describe it, and she's a brilliant writer for The Athletic. She described it a lot like the Trump presidency in that if one of these things happened to any other coaching staff, it would be a major story and situation. But because it's so much happening to one team, there's like the overload is kind of relieving the stress of the situation, which is kind of what's happening. But apparently, the thing that the players are most mad about and the thing that will be his undoing, in however it happens, because both the team and the coach have each other by the balls in the negotiation, the undoing for the players is that he didn't go home with the team. That after a game, he didn't go home, he didn't do his job, he went out in Ohio. He didn't go to Florida. And then, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of mess. Like in his apology, he said, I told Trevor Lawrence in his bachelor party to be careful for this reason. Like, okay, dude. Okay. Yeah. But I'm just going to start dancing on people's graves because I took a lot of heat on TikTok for saying Urban Meyer would be the first coach fired. Who's your daddy? TikTok, what's up? All right, let's take a look at Thursday Night Football. We got a really great matchup. Thursday Night Football this year has been an utter success. There was one clunker because the Texans' backup quarterback, Davis Mills, the greatest neck in the history of sports, is not actually good at football. But Tyrod Taylor is good at football. Had he been there, it would have been fine. Game tonight. So I guess we'll just take a look at Thursday Night Football. So it started with, I want to say, Cowboys-Bucks. That was the kickoff game. And then we had last Thursday was a great game between the Bengals and the Browns. And this week, it's the best Thursday Night Football game so far this year. Rams at Seahawks. Man, Seattle at night. It's going to be great. Matthew Stafford on the road, Russell Wilson. The two best fourth quarter comeback quarterbacks in the NFL. The only other ones that are there, Derek Carr, Matt Ryan. Let's take a look at some gambling odds regarding this here football game. The Los Angeles Rams are favored by 3 points. That means on a neutral field, Vegas has them by 6 points. The total is 54.5. So the implied line there is what? Wait, shut up. I can do the math. So 54 divided by 2 is 27. And you take 1.5, and that means 25.5 to 20. So 25, 28. Does that sound right? Yeah, 20, 25, 29, somewhere in there. So we'll just call it even 24 to 27 is around what they're looking at, 27, 31, somewhere in there. I think that's entirely too high. These primetime games, in my opinion, and my just experience as a football watcher, is that they seem to go fast. Seattle has a head coach that just doesn't understand that the best player on his team is one of the best players ever, top 200 or so, and one of the best players alive, and he just won't let that guy make the decisions. So he wants to run the ball. He's not physically capable of understanding that we should throw the ball, and as a result of that, the clock is going to tick, 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 tick. And don't forget, Pete Carroll got his ass handed to him by the Los Angeles Rams defense last year. A couple of those guys are gone, but they still have the main guys, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So I think that we're in a situation where Seattle is going to run, punt a couple times, and before you know it, it's going to be the third quarter. So I love the under in this bet, or in this game. There are some other interesting props. Bovada and a bunch of other sportsbooks have kind of their out-of-the-box props. I don't like to do any of those because you don't get as good odds as you do on actual parlays. I do want to take a look at receiving props, though, because this is where I think there are some money to be made on the unders because the establish the run stuff. You can run on the Seahawks. They're not what they used to be. So I think that a lot of these things are going to go low. So, like, for example, total receptions for Tyler Lockett, 5.5. 5 seems right to me. He's going to have, I think he could have 130 yards on 5 catches. Van Jefferson total receptions, though, is one I would love to hit, 3.5, because the Seahawks are going to try to take away Cooper Kupp and all these other guys. Van Jefferson quietly is having a really great fantasy year. He's having a really great year overall. People forgot about him. He was on that incredible Ole Miss receiving corps for a year, and then he transferred to Florida to play with Dan Mullen. His dad, Van Jefferson from Starkville and from Oxford, his dad was Calvin Johnson's best wide receivers coach. Like, this guy knows how to play the position. Total receptions for Robert Woods, 2. Yeah, that seems about, or 3. That seems about right. Tyler Higbee, the tight end, 4. So the receptions are where I think there's money to be made because, frankly, like I said, this game is going to go quickly. Total passing yards for Matthew Stafford, 300. That's high. Like, I don't think he's going to get enough possessions for that. Russell Wilson, 275. That's low. So the way I see this game going is it's 13-17 going into the fourth quarter, and each team has had the ball like only 6 times. There have been a couple punts, maybe an interception here or there. These Thursday night games go quickly, and these are 2 really good teams, so they're going to try to figure out how to get around each other and whatnot. So college football slate this weekend. It's another good slate. I think the most interesting thing to me, I'm incredibly completely biased because of my alma mater, but I think that the most interesting thing this weekend is Arkansas, Mississippi, because one of them, we want to see which one of them is further ahead than we thought. 2 staffs that are in the second year of a rebuild. They've clearly shown signs of life. Arkansas has much better players. Ole Miss has the best quarterback in the country. I don't know. It's going to be fun. I think this is last year, Lane Kiffin got out-coached. Arkansas played a bunch of coverage, and they dared Mississippi to throw the ball, and Mississippi just couldn't figure out what to do. And the only time they had success is when they went under center, and they handed off and ran it down Arkansas's throat. But it's a high-flying offense. They just couldn't be disciplined enough to continue to do that. Arkansas let them play into their hands, and then they established the run. It's kind of a sneaky, interesting situation. Arkansas Ole Miss, if you've never paid attention to an Arkansas Ole Miss game, they are messes, and it's incredible. Some of the craziest stuff happens in those games. Massive comebacks. They had the 4th and 19 thing that completely changed the history of college football. Unbelievable. The other big game this weekend, that's a noon kickoff in Oxford, Mississippi. The other noon kickoff, or 11 a.m. kickoff, if you're in the Central Time Zone, is the Red River rivalry, which a lot of people are sneakily saying that when the dust settles, if Texas ends up winning this game, losing to Arkansas might not look that bad, and all of a sudden they might see themselves really close to flirting with the college football playoff. Usually Oklahoma is the only real threat from the Big 12 to get in. Let's continue looking around the slate. Georgia at Auburn. Man, I bet, you think Georgia can win this game 9-3 or something? That would be hilarious. The big game of the weekend, and I don't understand these TV people. These guys are just jerks. I do like that it's kicking off at 4 p.m. and not at night because I try to live my life. Penn State at Iowa is the game of the weekend. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There's two really great teams. Penn State has better players here and there. Iowa is a better coach team. Iowa widely considered to be not the best and loudest, biggest stadium, but the hardest place to play in college football because the fans are so close. Iowa and Oklahoma State, they could, like, you can kind of touch them. They're so close. And then there's that thing with the children's hospital and there's kids crying, and it's a whole thing. So they're a really great, stable program. Penn State's a great, stable program. I do like Penn State, and I think it actually might be kind of an ass kicking, to be honest, just because I don't really care how disciplined you are. If you can't cover wide receivers, then you can't cover wide receivers. In Penn State's close game with Auburn, they can cover anybody, but I don't think Iowa can. So if Penn State just continues to pass, I think they'll kick Iowa's ass. Upset alert, Notre Dame at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's got to be like, hey, our season, what are we doing? Is the coach going to get fired? This is a big opportunity for Virginia Tech to show something. In Notre Dame, this is not your father's Notre Dame team. This is in every 3 years they have a rebuilding year. Michigan State at Rutgers. Oh, that's interesting. I think Rutgers might have a shot at Michigan State. Other interesting games. Temple is a fussy, feisty, annoying team. Friday night at Cincinnati. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to really scare the crap out of some people for sure. Other than that, this is not a great slate, to be honest. There are a couple big games, but there aren't a lot that you can get super excited about. Next weekend, much better slate, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. And hopefully, next weekend is incredibly important because it is time, for the love of God, for ESPN to put the Manning brothers in the Ole Miss Tennessee game, which we deserve that. All of us deserve that. Yeah, so kind of a simple show today. I just wanted to, keep it nice and easy for you guys and talk about that Urban Meyer stuff. Tomorrow, we will get into all of the NFL news going around, a lot of injuries, a lot of rookie quarterbacks, and we are in the throes of football season now, and I couldn't be more excited about it. This is interesting to see. I'll be back and better than ever tomorrow. Like, rate, review, subscribe, talk to your boss. I mean, you all know the drill. Just want to look at this clip real quick on the way out. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts comes out to the mound to take the ball from Max Scherzer because it's about the fifth inning and it's time to make a managerial change. And Dave Roberts holds his hand out to get the ball, and Scherzer just gives him a handshake. It's like, oh, yeah. Damn it. And he reaches in and takes the ball. Gotta love a competitor.